Hello, everybody. It's Jer. How are you doing? It is Tuesday, November 18th. Norris Howard, how are you?
Man, I'm feeling good, dude. I'm back, man.
You are back.
I'm back.
Did you find any files while you were out?
I did not, but apparently the House of Representatives has.
Apparently they have. We're going to talk about local things, but want to acknowledge we saw it.
Yeah, watched it live.
Yep, it's there. All right. We got a packed show today. We got some really interesting stories. Belle Isle, downtown, a bunch of stuff. And of course, we got to catch up because, you had a wonderful vacation. You look rested. You look ready.
I don't know about all that, but I had a good time.
What was your favorite stop on your vacation?
Oh, Puerto Rico.
The place that people forget is actually like
America?
US, it's actually America?
Yeah, Puerto Rico was dope. I mean, everywhere was dope, but yeah, I would say probably Puerto Rico. I like the Dominican a lot as well. I went to St. Thomas, the Dominican, Puerto Rico, and St. Martin.
Okay.
So, yeah. And then, of course, Florida, which is by far the worst part of the whole trip.
What do you dislike about Florida?
It's lawless. Like, it is. Dude, if you, like, COVID never stopped down there. Like, people just open mouth, cough, dry hack everywhere. They don't teach history in any kind of meaningful way. And
did you get called boy?
No, I didn't. But if I had, then I'd have been on the news for a very different reason. Other than sharing the news with y'all here, I would have been the news. Because if that would have happened, it would have been smoke in the city.
Or the swamp.
Yes.
Most likely.
Most likely, yeah. For real though, man. But yeah, Florida, not my favorite.
Okay.
Not my favorite.
Okay. Well, we're gonna have a bunch of stories that we're gonna talk about. Then we'll answer your questions as we normally do. It's been I'm feeling a little rusty. We took a week off.
We did.
Because you were out of town.
Yeah.
And we had that craziness that was that mayoral live stream.
Yeah, you should have took a break.
Yeah. That was wild.
I'm glad you took a break.
Yeah. I mean, the show kept on, the main show.
Yeah, of course. But that's life.
Yes. But I feel like things have picked up in a pace that I didn't expect to pick up.
Yes. Usually in the media world, we are getting into what we like to call the doldrums, which is pretty much after Thanksgiving, nothing happens.
Or even on the lead up to Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
It's like write stories about turkeys.
Yeah, write about turkeys, write about holiday shopping, write about, or do a piece on some feel-good thing. The Capuchins, you got to go visit the Capuchins.
I mean, they're worth visiting. They have a new facility, too.
I saw,
Yeah, it looks really good.
Yeah. But, if we talking about Detroit media, you got to visit the Capuchins. You got to see what's the...
Hobnobble Gobble is coming.
Hobnobble Gobble.
If you don't know what Hobnobble Gobble is, it's a fundraiser that the parade company does.
Yep.
Because there's the parade,
There's
Thanksgiving
the parade.
Yeah.
You got the turkey trot and all that.
Oh, did you see that the Free Press is taking over running not just the marathon, but also the Irish race, the Corktown races?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
I know
that's fantastic.
Who knew the newspaper would have an excellent ability to put together races, but they do.
They need revenue streams, Jer.
Yeah, they're running for it.
Yeah.
It's running for revenue. I'm not mad at it.
Me neither.
They do a really nice job.
Like the Free should just full time, just like Olympic committee, like reach out to the Free Press. Like maybe they can run the marathons for you. Like, 'cause they're really good at it,
I feel like we could have like really cheesy ads from like the 50s or 40s, like fast with the Freep.
Yeah, something like that.
Something
but
very cheesy.
They've done a great job. Even the marathon this year, even though it was rainy and really kind of gross. If you were a spectator, if you were running, it probably felt great. But
I have no idea. Me running a marathon is not in the cards.
it was. Don't say that. You could run one if you wanted to.
I could walk one.
No, you could run one. You could train, then run one. I mean, don't go whole hog. Like do
Just
a half.
run out the door right now.
Yeah,
just like throw down
like
the headphones.
train and do a half marathon first, and then go from there.
Or like a 5K.
5K, yeah. Start there, but yeah, don't say you can't do it. You can totally do it. Now you know the listeners they're gonna want you to do it now.
I mean,
but don't.
No,
I don't want you. I don't want your ticker to go out on us. I want you to be cool. So you ain't got to, but I think you could do anything you set your mind to, Jarethan.
I appreciate that. When you were away, what are your thoughts coming back to?
Dude, I came back to freaking chaos. Like,
right.
I left, and there seemed to be like
there's even chaos outside the window if you're watching.
It was like
there's a fire truck passing by.
I left, and we were still in the shutdown, and the SNAP thing was still under debate. And within 48 hours, the shutdown ended. Well, excuse me. I got on the plane. The day that I was getting on the plane, they said, "Oh, we're cutting back flights." So now I'm about to have a panic attack thinking like, "Oh my God, my flight might get canceled." All this stuff before I get down to Florida. I do that. Flight doesn't get canceled. Fantastic. Now I'm worried about getting back because, again, 10% of flights nationwide grounded, right? So I'm worried about that. Then the SNAP conversation still going on. Over the course of my trip, government shutdown ends. The emails, the Epstein emails come out that had all kind of sordid details that was at least 2-3 days of memes that I almost missed if I didn't spend for the internet package.
Was it worth it for the memes?
Yes. And so, yeah, I came back. When I left, it was halfway decent outside. I came back, it's winter. So, yeah.
So, am I to blame winter on you?
Yes, I took the sun away. It was me. Blame me for all your winter woes. Your seasonal depression that's on the way, it's my fault.
Damn you, Norris.
Yeah.
Anytime you feel sad, just look to the sky and shake your fist and go, "Damn you, Norris."
Yeah, y'all can blame me. You know what? I feel like having an object of ire, helps a lot of people. So if you got to be mad at me for wintertime, sure, be mad at me.
I'm going to mention it in the main show as well, but I want to say thank you to so many of our Daily Detroit listeners and people for our Gleaners virtual food drive, which is still open, but you all crushed it.
Man.
I am going to cover this in the main show, but wow, blew through the goal, more than $1,000 in like less than a few days, still rocking and rolling, approaching $1,500 for our hungry neighbors. That is huge. According to Gleaners, that's going to, that comes up to nearly 4,500 meals for people. And here's the thing. The whole SNAP conversation has kind of died back a little bit, but the need is very much out there.
The need is still there.
The lines, I am told, like the lines to like kitchens and things are like out the door.
Well, you got to understand that food scarcity or the lack of availability of food, I mean, we all know how cranky and bad we feel when we miss a meal, a meal. We forget to get breakfast, so on and so forth, many of us. There are a lot of people who, when those SNAP benefits did not come through, they missed a lot of meals. And so we thank y'all for sharing out, funds, donating, and helping out people who really need it. But the help is still there, as Jer, or the need is still there, as Jer said. So whether it be through Gleaners or whoever else, if you have more ability to volunteer, to donate, please do so. What I'm doing? What I'm doing instead of Black Friday is I'm finding 5 charities to donate to. And whether that be through old clothes or anything like that, instead of on that day spending a bunch of money that I don't need to spend, I'm just going to see how I can help somebody else.
Well, and maybe producer Adam can put the link in the chat for people.
Yeah.
To the Gleaners Drive.
Let's put the link in the chat to the Gleaners Drive for people who may still want to donate, because not only is the need there, let's just let's reframe the holiday season. For most of we grew up in the 90s, Jer. Most of our things with the holidays was all about consumerism, eating the biggest meals possible and spending the most money, getting the nicest gifts, so on and so forth. You know what? Let's reframe it and let's say, how many people can we help? How many people can Daily Detroit and the listeners help this holiday season? So help us out if you can.
Okay, I want to share niche holiday memories really quick.
Ooh.
Okay, what's one thing that's super, I'll go first, that I think of the holidays and I used to get very excited about? My aunt who lived over on the Gold Coast in those apartments, she got government cheese.
Oh, wow.
I was very excited because
You're excited to get the cheese?
get the government cheese. And it came in the big, it wasn't a tube. It was like
a brick.
It was a brick.
It was a brick.
Long brick.
It was
It was
like
not
this,
pre-sliced.
It was like this long.
I remember holding that
It's
thing.
like a foot of cheese.
I remember holding that thing on the Jefferson bus on the way home.
Yeah.
Just so excited.
You're like, oh man.
Oh, man.
All this cheese.
Is mine.
Oh, a niche holiday memory. You know, my holidays, honestly, I'll say this because I'm a kid of divorced parents. I loved Thanksgiving and Christmas because it was like, bro, I am about to have at least 4 meals and I got 4 stops for gifts. At my mom's house, my auntie house, my granny house, my dad's house. Like, Brody, I was doing good, man. Like, when I forgot what movie it was, but it was just like, I'm sorry, son, we're getting divorced. And it's just like, yeah, 2 Christmases. Like, that basically. Oh, actually, I have one. I have one. I remember it wasn't exactly Christmas, but I do remember on New Year's, I got really drunk and got in a fight with my best friend. like my best friend at the time. We're not best friends anymore.
Is that because you fought them?
Yeah, it's because we fought. But it was funny because I was like, I was too drunk and I couldn't really fight back. So I just laughed the whole time. And
Oh, so you were getting beat.
yeah. Oh, it was like the only. It was like one of the few handfuls of fights that I'll admit I lost. But the thing is that like it was funny. Like I was laughing the whole time, and he kept trying to like hit me, and I kept like drunkenly dodging his swings because he couldn't predict where I was going. And then eventually he just tackled me, and our friends pulled him off. But I look back at it and say I thought it was hilarious. Like I almost wish somebody would have filmed it because it probably would have been really funny.
It would have been like The Matrix in slow motion, and it wouldn't have come off as well.
No, it'd have been awful. So that's I think of New Year's, and I always think of getting in a drunk fight in front of my mom's house.
That's heartwarming, I tell you.
Hey, listen, a good scrap can be a good memory.
All right.
You know?
That's fair. That's fair. All right. If this is your first time joining us, this is how this goes. We do a little bit of pre-chat. Of course, we're going to record our show that will air on tomorrow's podcast. So our story lineup will reflect that. There's a few things happening tonight that I don't think we're going to be able to cover on tomorrow's show. I am aware of the public hearing about the demolition dirt vote and some other things. Just because of the timing of the podcast, we're not going to be able to touch that and cover it, right? Because we'll be recording this and then getting it out in the morning. But it's something I'm watching on. There's some other things that are happening as well.
But the Pistons won again.
They won again, 10 in a row now?
Yeah.
It's wild.
Best team in
Fletcher
basketball.
was telling me about the Cade's getting new shoes.
He's getting his own shoe. He's in the running for MVP. He's averaging almost a double-double every game.
It's amazing.
Hey, listen, if they could keep this up, we a problem. Could the Detroit basketball Pistons end up winning a championship before the Lions?
Oh.
In this climate, the Pistons will have been good, been crappy for almost 20 years, and been good again before the Lions won the Super Bowl.
What do you think? I asked Fletcher this. What do you think of the Nasty Dogs nickname?
That's a terrible nickname. Terrible nickname.
Expound. I am not a fan, but I don't get to choose these things.
I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan. Listen, you're not gonna be the bad boys. I get it. So don't.
And we already went to work.
And we already went to work, right? So you already punched out. So just come up with something new. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Maybe you could do something with the Buffs. You know what I'm saying? The Buff Boys. I don't know. But no.
Not Nasty Dogs.
Nasty Dogs is not my favorite. You already got Gritty Tigs. What else you got? Lions don't even have one because they ain't won nothing. So when you win, you get a nickname.
Fair.
All
Not
right.
since like the 50s.
That don't count.
Hold on.
When
Detroit
people you got
Lions
it was 1954,
nicknames.
I believe. It was 54 or 55.
The Pride of Detroit.
Negative.
Okay, negative.
Negative. The Lions need a good nickname. It's because nothing lion is like doesn't have a good rhyme to it.
You know, every time I hear lion, I think of DJ Khaled. Lion.
That's
Geriatric millennial references
You're
for
right.
400, Alex.
You're right.
All right, so what we will do is our main show. If you've got questions, leave them in the chat. We will answer them afterward. Obviously, for our audio podcast listeners, if we stop in the middle to answer chat questions, we won't. We will confuse them greatly. Oh, Michael, hello, Makio. Hello, Michael Dompier. Silver Rush for Lions was a nickname for their defense, I think. The Silver Rush.
Sure.
I don't remember that, but I believe you. It makes sense.
It's lame. It's lame.
You have strong feelings.
I do. It's lame.
Man, those shoes from Cade better be good, or else you're gonna have.
Oh, boy. Listen. He know where he playing at. That's why he been playing this very close to the chest. Because if them boys come out looking ugly, nope. Nah, they're gonna be dope though. I don't wear basketball shoes, so that's one thing. But
so you will not be in line.
No, I don't wear Jordans. I don't wear none of that stuff, man. I'm not a sneaker person. It's if you're into sneakers, that's fine. One of my best friends, not the one I fought, but one of my best friends is very much so like a sneakerhead. And before StockX came out, he was trying to put together like a Kelly Blue Book of sneakers. But then StockX did that.
StockX got into a fight with him and won.
Yeah. But he was deep in the sneakers and still is, and you know, I just it seems stressful.
I don't collect things like that, so I wouldn't know.
I don't either. Like I'm not really a collector's person.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, but
Like the rooms are really cool. I've seen.
Well, and beyond that, like for a thing you put on your feet, which touch the ground, like to keep.
But you don't actually wear them very often.
To keep them that pristine, I would just. Listen, also, I'm lanky, I'm limber, I bounce around and stuff. And so, like, naturally, I'm going to be a person that creases up my sneakers at some point. And I don't like to wear shoes that I'm going to be mad if they get creased up.
Norris Limber Howard.
That's what I do. I'm agile.
All right, so we will get into the show. If you've got questions, drop them in the chat. We'll do our best to answer. And we'll go through. We got a bunch of stories that we're going to get into, a lot of Belle Isle stories, some development stuff, as well as some stuff that's got some larger political import and media import. So we're going to have some takes, I think.
Oh, yeah.
On this one. So it might get a little hot.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, let's get ourselves together here for a record. All right. We are recording. And in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hello, friends, and welcome to your daily Detroit, sharing what to know and where to go in Southeast Michigan. I am Jer Stays, coming to you from our studio at Techtown in the Paris of the Midwest, the city of Detroit. Joining me across the table is none other than the returning from vacation in parts far south, Norris Howard. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. After feeling very equatorial, I am now back and here in the beautiful mitten of Michigan.
As a prince, did you get diplomatic immunity when you traveled?
I always do. Always do. And once I touch down on foreign sand, I am indeed immune. And therefore, so is my entourage and family members who I was with as well. And so we enjoy the red carpet treatment, so to speak, in many places, including Puerto Rico, where I was, which is still America. For a lot of y'all that don't know, Puerto Rico is America. But yeah, all jokes aside, had a great time, very refreshing, ate way too much, drank even more, and it was fantastic.
That is awesome to hear. I also want to say thank you to our listeners in a huge way for supporting so far our Gleaners virtual fundraiser.
Oh, yeah.
Nearly
man.
$1,500 raised so far and more coming. You all are amazing. You know, I know that we started this in the heat of all that SNAP questions with the food stands. Mm-hmm. But the reality is that need is still very much out there. in major ways. I was just talking to a friend of mine who was noticing lines outside of one of the soup kitchens. There's still a lot of need out there, and stepping up in the season's a really big deal. So thank you.
Yeah, and Jared, that $1,500, can you express just how many meals or people that may assist?
Oh, we're coming up on 4,500 meals for people.
That's incredible. That's incredible. But the link is still live, folks. So if you haven't, you can slide over to dailydetroit.com, or if you're a member, go into our Discord and find the link there where you can donate once more or donate for the first time if you're doing it for the first time. And share the holiday spirit of giving and help us help as many people as we can in the city of Detroit.
100%. I will have it in the show notes too in your podcast app. All right. So we have the information that Sweet Green's downtown Detroit's grand opening is in fact on Tuesday, December 9th at the One Campus Marcius building. We have more serious stories to tackle, but I know how you've been looking for the Sweet Greens. Apparently this event's going to be running from 10 to 1. It's going to have Bon. It's going to have earthy botanical mobile bar. You're going to have a whole thing on your Tuesday lunch.
I freaking love Sweet Green. I love that place so much. I love it. I've never been more excited to pay for $23 salad. Like, for real. Like, I don't know what it is. Like, they have to, like, sprinkle crack or something into, like, their dressing or something. Because every time I go, like, it is so addictive and so good. And it takes everything in me not to drive all the way to Ann Arbor and go to Sweet Green. But now I won't have to.
You'll be able to walk.
This is a problem. I mean, I'm happy. But I'm going to have a problem. Like, because I don't know why we have not been paid by Sweet Green, I assure you, but it's just a place where I just thoroughly enjoy the food, and the focaccia bread is fantastic. And I think it is a thing that we have been needing. It's another one of those kind of stores where it's kind of like you're not a real downtown till you have a Sweet Green. You're not a real downtown till you have an X. You know, that's one of them to me.
There's a number of those that we're getting. Now,
Yeah.
Are you going to get 2 salads when you leave? One that you eat on the way back to your spot? And
No,
then one for later?
I sit and eat. Like, I sit, every time I go to Sweet Green, I sit and eat at the Sweet Green because it's so millennial coded, and there's something about my brain about, like, white and wood that, like, just makes me feel comfortable.
I feel like if you had gone to the tour that we did of the new Ford headquarters in Dearborn, we never would have gotten you to leave.
I'd move in. I'd move into the Ford headquarters. I lived there. I saw
Just
the
sleep
photos.
you saw the photos by Ryan Southon?
Yeah. I would just live there. Just listen.
Under a table?
Yeah, no. I am setting up a bed. I'm setting up a bed in the Ford headquarters. Just give me somewhere to plug in my TV and my PlayStation, and I'll be good.
All right, let's get into some news. A couple of Belle Isle stories that we will start with. The Belle Isle Zoo is being demolished and turned into nature trails. This is from an update from historicdetroit.org. Now, this Belle Isle Zoo opened back in 1895.
Man.
And after the Detroit Zoo opened in 1928, the Belle Isle Zoo became the Children's Zoo, which is how I remember it as a child of Detroit in the 80s. I have a lot of good memories there. I got squirted by animals.
That happened a lot at that zoo.
You could also see over and see all the flamingos.
Yep.
It was, if you never went.
It was a special place.
And a very cool way of like looking over all of the exhibits. They had these kind of suspended trails. I really wish in this demolition that at least some of it were able to be kept, but I understand. And, although I am sad for some of my memories.
Yeah.
I think it's time. It's time.
It's time. I mean,
it's been a long time, man.
The zoo has been closed for over 20 years now. Like it closed in 2002, and that space has been just sitting unused for that entire time. There hasn't really been a great effort to kind of figure out anything else to do with it. But now to hear that there's going to be more green space, open nature trails, I think that's fantastic. Listen, y'all know me and y'all know my opinion usually is if you ain't using it and it's old and decrepit, tear it down, put something else there that people are actually going to use. And I think pretty much across the board, this is something that everybody's behind because nobody has come up with a good idea for this
Remember
space.
when former Mayor Kwame Kilpatrick wanted to put zip lines?
Yep, sure did.
That didn't work.
Didn't happen.
Didn't happen.
So, that's the thing. Is like, for me, Belle Isle is clearly one of those things where more and more investment is coming to it. The state is putting money into it because, again, it is a state-run park. It does not belong to the city of Detroit.
Well, technically. It's being leased from the city of Detroit.
Yeah.
Yes.
But for the day-to-day management is run.
And it's seeing far more money than it did for decades.
Absolutely. And so, seeing that this is the kind of direction that they're taking towards it, I think is a step in the right direction for the continued improvement of Belle Isle.
Another big piece of news, something that is an update to a story we have talked about on this very show. The Belle Isle Boathouse renovation is moving forward. A 50-year lease agreement has been reached between the city of Detroit, the state of Michigan, and developer Stuart Pittman Incorporated to manage and restore the historic Belle Isle Boathouse, pending final approval from the Detroit City Council later this month. The $30 million plus redevelopment plan will transform the site into the Belle Isle Gateway, featuring a new welcome center, marina with water taxis, restaurants, event spaces, and upgraded facilities for local rowing and sailing nonprofits. Really good for them. The deal includes strict performance benchmarks, requiring the developer to raise $2 million for immediate roof repairs within 1 to 2 years and aiming for full project completion within 5 years. Funding will be secured through a public-private model using historic tax credits, grants, and donations, a strategy intended to relieve the city of financial burdens while preserving the landmark for future generations.
Listen, man, the thing that hits me with it is them water taxis, baby. I am excited for that. Water taxis are so cool. Like, they're so cool. And for as much water as we have down there and around Belle Isle and all through the island itself, I'm excited for it. I think it's the first step to having a ferry that goes from downtown to Belle Isle.
I've actually taken a ferry from Belle Isle to downtown before.
Yeah.
It existed for the Grand Prix
I know
that
it did.
1 year.
I know it
and
did.
it was the jankiest dock that the Detroit Police Department has over there.
Yep.
And it went from the Port of Detroit to that janky dock.
Yeah,
and it was all completely like but you know what? It was super fun.
It was fun.
I still have pictures somewhere that I'll have to find.
You get to see this great layout of the city. Like, it's so cool. And for me, it just feels like the last thing I need at Belle Isle. Like, everything else is extra, but that's the last thing I need is for me to just get right there, Port of Detroit, take a ferry to Belle Isle.
I think this is so huge for the east side because you go out to Gabrielle Richard Park, you go out to the riverfront, you can see that boathouse and its kind of faded glory.
Yeah.
To see that be active again, I am so excited that they can get a deal together that actually makes some sense. And I feel like this is the kind of thing that people with money should step up for. Because this could be a jewel on our riverfront. Yet another reason to visit that island and also to visit Detroit.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I could see it as something that, people from all across the region will take advantage of. Again, being able to go up and down the river to and fro Lake St. Clair, all the way down to Lake Erie if you so chose. Like, this is really cool. And now you create just one more of those sort of touch points that allow you to interface with the city of Detroit. I mean, just imagine you live all the way up in Port Huron, you got a big old boat, and you take the boat down, and you stop all along the river, and you stop all along the riverfront, and now you can land at Belle Isle in a meaningful way and really take advantage of that gorgeous, gorgeous boathouse.
And I know a lot of people were really scared this one was going to get demolished. I'm very happy for it.
I know you are, because I was one of the main people that said, listen, if you're not going to do anything with it, tear it down.
And I heard you.
Yeah.
But this one's special if we can do something. And it showed how special it was because people were able to rally around it.
And you know what? And I think that's good. Sometimes it's not a matter of right and wrong, but sometimes I like to be shown that people care that much, right? Like, I like to be proven wrong in that sense. And, the people have shown that they care about the boathouse, and therefore they want to preserve it. And I'm excited to see what happens.
let's head downtown and talk about some new luxury condos that are going to be at the David Whitney. The David Whitney building in downtown Detroit is converting their 79 existing rental units on 5 floors into luxury condos branded as the Residences at Hotel David Whitney, with sales officially beginning today. Asking prices range from $270,000 for a 569 square foot 1-bedroom to more than $1 million for the premium residences, with a total of 68 1-bedrooms, 9 2-bedrooms, and 2 3-bedroom units. This is following a $20 million renovation of the hotel that took it to autograph status. These new places would come with hotel-like amenities. There would also be, of course, an HOA fee involved in all of this, but it's going to be interesting to see how these sell. According to Crane's Detroit Business, 20% of them have already been spoken for by existing residents who were given the first option to buy. It'll be interesting to see how these sell in this market, because I think a lot of developers, I haven't spoken specifically about this one, but I think a number of developers are looking at this going, is it time to get my money out and be able to actually do a condo conversion? Because these rents, they're all right, but the money comes when you do the sale.
Yeah, I mean, listen, there's already, we talked many years ago and throughout the past 5 years about the hotel room shortage within the city of Detroit. And it seems like to a certain extent that was rectified. We've seen a number of new hotels go up, and they've been really well-received hotels. I think particularly about the Godfrey, Shinola, and even the Aloft, which is about a decade old now.
Well, and you look at the rising Water Square.
Yes, which will also be even more hotel rooms. And so you look at, the David Whitney, and you say, let's get some more money out of this if we can.
Yeah.
But you know what? At the end of the day, regardless of the asking price, if somebody pays for it, that's another resident downtown, which is a good thing fundamentally. Now, the prices, I think, still $1 million for anywhere in Detroit that's not Boston Edison or, Palmer Woods to me.
But some places have gotten it, like the Exchange over in Greektown.
They sure listen, I know they have. I'm just saying, for me as an old Detroiter, I hear $1 million, my brain goes to a certain thing, right? But to people who are not from here, or maybe people who have experienced living in larger cities, come back and they realize, wow, $1 million wouldn't have got me this in other places to live in the middle of a major metropolitan downtown area. So I get it, but at the end of the day, if somebody's willing to pay it, then gosh darn it, get your money and go ahead, because we need as many people living here as possible. And I actually thought about this, is that we actually need more residents and more children living downtown currently as well, because that's another thing that makes people want to stay in the city. You build schools, you build infrastructure, because you want those people to stay and to stay for years. And so more residents downtown is always going to be a thing I'm in the affirmative for.
Feedback, as always, dailydetroit@gmail.com or 313-789-3211. Now, these next couple of stories are more metro region-wide. DTE Energy is seeking fast-track approval from Michigan regulators to provide special power contracts for a planned $7 billion hyperscale data center called the Stargate Project. It's backed by OpenAI, Oracle, and Related Digital near Ann Arbor. The facility would employ approximately 2,000 during construction and up to 450 permanent jobs on site and 1,500 overall in Washtenaw County. The Michigan Public Service Commission will hold a virtual public hearing on December 3rd. That is the new news. In the wake of a ton of public attention, more than 2,500 comments, mostly negative, have been submitted by residents concerned about local impacts. The Attorney General of Michigan has requested a slower, more transparent review. She warns that decisions about the first large-scale Michigan data center could have major effects on ratepayers, clean energy goals, and resource use. DTE claims the project would benefit all customers by sharing grid costs more widely, potentially lowering rates. There's also a condition in the contract that all regulatory approvals would be done by December 5th. The PSC recently approved special rate structures for large energy users like data centers to protect existing customers from subsidizing them. DTE argues its contract is designed to safeguard affordability and shield regular users from risk. Now, this December 3rd hearing is very close to that deadline. This is a project that Governor Gretchen Whitmer has been very much behind. Economic development officials are very much behind, but the public, there are a lot of concerns. The Attorney General would prefer delay until April 2026 for a deeper review, but there are a lot of fears that, considering the market, considering the challenges with AI and site selection, that if it isn't done by December 5th, this will not happen. So this feels like a force squeeze, as they say in baseball.
Yeah, it is. And I mean, this has been one of the more contentious development stories that we've had in Southeast Michigan in a long time. And there's a lot of moving parts to this. But the reason why you're seeing so much opposition for it is the concern about rate hikes, which have happened in other parts of the country. There is sort of this weird kind of guarantee that rates wouldn't go up. But ultimately, the energy use is the energy use. And data centers are notorious for how much energy they use and specifically how much water they use.
Which ties into the resource concerns, which a lot of people have environmental concerns. There's a lot of people who have strong feelings about AI, basically, worrying that we're, incinerating water to answer questions.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, there's the whole adage of like every time you give ChatGPT a query, it's 2 glasses of water, right?
I don't know if that's exactly.
But just to give a real number around this, the larger data centers, of which this would be on the larger end, require up to 5 million gallons of water a day to cool the systems. That is a lot of water. That is more than hundreds of farmers could use put together. It is a valid concern, I think, for that community. And also, I think one of the things that it continues to raise concerns about beyond just land use and resource use is the economics of it, right? We hear about how many jobs were coming, but ultimately, we really don't know. And especially if this AI bubble is, kind of on the precipice, is AI going to grow at the rate that these companies say it is? Is there going to be some market contraction? At this point, we don't know. So an investment of this level is really, I think, concerning for a lot of people. Listen, will it bring jobs? Yes, it will. Will it bring jobs to the extent that, say, a plant does, that a mall does, that, any of these other sorts of large-scale developments do? The answer is actually not.
I know that there are a lot of strong feelings around this one, and I'd love to hear what people think. dailydetroit@gmail.com. It's challenging because the timeline for me seems very compressed to answer all the questions properly.
Not only
for me,
yeah.
like I am open to a lot of things, but this is a very tight timeline, man. We're less than a month out.
And I think the main thing for me was that, anytime you hear that a company doesn't want to take public input on a development of this scale, I mean, think about it. We have been taking public comment on the 375 project for a year.
Okay, maybe that's been a little too long.
Yeah, I agree, but I'm just saying, like, here we are. We have, a large scale municipal project to actually rectify something that affected the community. We had public hearing and public comment on the building of Little Caesars Arena. We had public hearing and public comment on many large-scale developments, not just within the city of Detroit, but across the region. And now we have this data center, and DTE wants to fast-track it and doesn't want to hear a comment from the people. I mean, Celine has brought up some very, very valid concerns.
Well, as I said, 313-789-3211. Let us know how you feel. All right, this last story is a little bit of media nerdery, if you will, but I think it's important to talk about because it could mark a major shift here in Metro Detroit. Sinclair, one of the largest local TV station operators in the country with 179 stations, has made a bid to buy EW Scripps Company. Now, why is that important? Scripps owns WXYZ Channel 7
sure does.
in Southfield. They already own a little bit more than 8% of the company. This bid would be basically to take over the rest of it. If this deal goes through, we're talking about a massive consolidation. Scripps operates more than 60 stations nationally, so putting these two together could unlock around $300 million in synergies, according to industry estimates. Now, the Scripps board is skeptical of this one, but they've released a statement saying that they'll evaluate any transaction that enhances shareholder value, but they're also making it clear that they'll take, quote, all steps appropriate to protect the company, unquote, from what they're calling Sinclair's, quote, opportunistic actions, unquote. That's corporate speak for we're preparing for a fight, I think.
Yep.
This push for consolidation is not happening in a vacuum. We've talked about this a little bit on the podcast before. TV news is in a lot of financial trouble.
Yeah.
Which means it's very vulnerable to takeover by political actors.
Yep.
Who are more interested in getting the word out than anything else. Sinclair has a long track record that a lot of people find questionable. Other people support it, but there is a track record that's been highlighted in a number of publications of synchronized editorials across all of their stations at the same time. Mm-hmm. There's been reports of less local news, which for me, that's one of the big things I care about, is because every minute that's spent on national news is a minute that's not spent on what's happening in our community. I know that media consumption is changing. I know habits are changing, but WXYZ is one of the oldest stations in Detroit.
In the country.
In the country, really. And it's had, I think this would only be its third owner.
Yeah.
Which is wild. So, there's a lot to unpack here, a lot we don't know.
Yeah, and you know, I think, again, the consolidation of the TV stations, the radio stations, and media, legacy media across the board has played out in ways that I think those of us in the journalistic and media world have been ringing the alarm bells about for many, 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 many years on this. You know, in particular, I think of the sort of Jimmy Kimmel incident in which, as we know, the FCC had reached out to ABC to get him off the air. That eventually happens. It's called unconstitutional. He's put back.
And Sinclair was a big part of that, wasn't it?
And Sinclair not only was a part of that, but also did not air his return or his returning comments on many of the stations that they owned, of which Sinclair owns a few in, I believe, Western Michigan, mostly in Western Michigan. And so that is just that's just one example of how a large media conglomerate or corporation can begin to editorialize a story of which we clearly got via social media and via other outlets. But if you live in a separate bubble, you just didn't get, or just by happenstance of geography, you just were removed from the story. That is not only incredibly dangerous from a political point of view, but also just a general mental health point of view. If you're not getting the stories about what's going on around you, you are woefully deficient in having any sort of real attachment to that place.
You know what helps bridge gaps? You know what helps reduce partisanship? You know what helps better outcomes?
Talking to people that live next door.
Local news.
Yep.
That is the key. And the less and less we have, the worse and worse we are going to be, because we are not creatures meant to bathe in like a fire hose of crap
or in misery, right?
Yeah.
Like, and that is essentially a thing. Listen, Sinclair is a company. They're going to do what they're going to do. But at some point, and this is my opinion, and I'm going to say this, at some point, we do need to realize that local news and local networks need to exist, and they need to be protected, and they need to exist in a way that allows them to report on local news first, primarily, and are not susceptible to synchronized editorials. I think synchronized editorials are awful.
Well, and there's so much content that is kind of comes down from the top, not just at Sinclair, but other places, to just fill up stuff as cheaply as possible. Yeah. Because the economics of this entire industry, especially on TV, and I could link to the episodes in the past where we've talked about this with experts. It just the financial pressures are just so difficult. But you know what you can do to help You can become a member on Patreon.
So I was just
Support
about to
us.
say, support your local independent news media.
That's right.
Listen, and we don't say this, just say it, man. We are out here trying our best to fight the good fight and continue to bring you local news and local stories. Obviously, we know that our friends at WXYZ are also trying to do the same. They're not the people trying to only give you, national news and only keep you mad all the time. They want to report on local news. That's why you take the job, right? You want to report the news. And this is just big business doing what big business do.
Well, the thing is, though, is that a lot of stuff in this new economy is going to mean that you have to have direct support.
You got, these markets are contracting.
These markets are contracting, and more people are putting things behind paywalls, doing all that kind of stuff because they have to.
Yeah.
I know when I post on social media, people get really mad if I include a paywalled link. Some places, that's the only place reporting on it. And it's just so difficult. I would want everything to be free if I could.
Yeah.
But I mean, for us, we do our special podcasts. We do the sticker giveaways. We do the glasses.
Yeah, the merch.
We do get-togethers, all that kind of stuff, because we want to give you all something extra on top of providing this service to everybody else. And it's hard to make it work, man. It's just hard.
It is. And it's because I think, fundamentally we've devalued that information. And I don't think it's anybody's fault. I don't think it's malicious. I don't think it's a thing that people have willfully done, but we've devalued
when you're talking about the public.
Yeah, the public, the consumer. We've devalued the local newspaper. We've devalued local TV because the endorphin hits from the national news, from the big outlets, from your New York Times and so on and so forth, it hits in a different way. It makes us want to keep feeding into this machine. Same for social media. And so from a business perspective, I see why Sinclair does what they do. But we do need to try our best to protect what I consider the sanctity of the Fourth Estate, and that's your local news and your local papers.
And, some people are stepping up in, because you look at the numbers, right? So I looked at the New York Times recently. They gained more than 450,000 new subscribers in the last quarter. And I know some people love the Times, some people hate the Times.
Yeah.
But they are proving a model that seems to work because they're really hoovering up a lot of that money. They're doing a lot of that stuff.
Well, and it's because, I think for a lot of people, what I've noticed is that there are a lot of folks interfacing with stuff like us and then getting their national news from a completely separate outlet, right?
Yeah.
From a New York Times or, Washington Post.
Well, it's funny because the New York Times doesn't, if you want to look at New York news, you probably want to look at a bunch of other outlets that are really cool.
Yeah, you don't want to look at the Times.
Right. The Times isn't really about New York.
No.
I mean, yes, there's New York stories.
But the Times is a national outlet. Like that is their thing. That's what they're best at, and that's what they do. And I think for us, for what we try to do, not just at Daily Detroit, but also to all of my journalistic colleagues throughout the Metro, we all talk about how hard it is, man. We all talk about how hard it is to make this a viable economic thing when the consumer has shown that they'd rather just get their news from Threads or Twitter, don't get your news from those places, people. Like, don't do it. But at the end of the day, for us journalists, it's really important that we continue to support our local outlets. And we'll see what happens with this Sinclair thing. As you said, it seems like WXYZ has prepared themselves for a fight. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, the parent company, Scripps. Yeah. Well, as always, feedback, dailydetroit@gmail.com. What can we do better? How can we serve you? Let me know. With that, I am Jairus Days.
And I'm Norris Howard.
Thank you so much for listening. We really appreciate you. Remember that you are somebody, and we'll talk tomorrow. Okay.
Yeah, man.
Got to shake off the rust there a little bit.
Just a little bit, but I think we came back strong.
Yes.
Came back strong.
Let's hit the chat. Do you have a minute?
Yeah, I got a minute, man.
Okay, let's go into the chat. Let's work our way backwards. Mr. Duckett, always good to see you. Always good. You say the quality of our local news has fell off. I'm not arguing with you. I'd like to go deeper on that because
'Cause
especially
what
for
is-
what we do, I want to know what that
What is
means.
quality? Yeah, like what is the qualifier you're using?
And I'm not judging you. I'm not
No,
doing
no,
the
no,
judge.
I'm
I want to
just
know.
curious. Yeah, I
because
agree.
we produce a product.
Well, and I was literally gonna ask the exact same question, which is like, what is the quality? Like, what is quality news? Because for me, what is quality news has not been a thing for years. Like, quality news for me is like Dateline, like Stone Phillips sitting in front of a desk reading his teleprompter and telling me who, what, where, when, why, how, like, and moving on.
Well,
like, that's news to me.
I think it depends on what context you're in. So, like, I'll talk to a lot of listeners who think the most important news service is what is the latest thing opening up or guides to bookstores. Because for them, local news, that's how they engage with their community.
Yeah.
And many times it's not the crime stuff or that stuff's important to a degree. But for a lot of folks, it's more about how do I interface with my community? And that means something different depending where you're sitting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, David Porter suggests and have someone from the Oakland Press and Macomb Daily come on and talk about stories that fall through the cracks. Definitely open to that. Definitely open to that. There were just some closures, actually. The Dearborn Press and Guide closed. I could reach out to some folks over there, especially for the suburbs. There's also a site called Oakland County 411 that does some stuff. But yeah, and we're also looking at some more things in those areas too, because we've had some listeners kind of raise their hand a little bit, not just on the podcast, but we also have our newsletter product.
Yeah. And,
That has been something we've gotten a lot of feedback around
And
that.
I
But
think-
thank you,
and I
David
think
Porter.
that's-
Those are good points.
And I think that's dope. And we absolutely something that not only we've been looking into, but we think will be really important for us to talk about.
Andrew says, I missed Urbanized Detroit and Curb Detroit. You know, it's funny because Robin Runyon comes on the show who did both those things.
Yeah. All the time.
We do our best. So I actually have gotten that feedback a lot. I would love to figure out a way to monetarily make that happen.
I was just about to say, like, but
Because I know that's a job we could do. We could do that job.
we could do that job, but here's the problem, y'all. A lot of people didn't pay for it.
Nobody paid for it.
Nobody paid for it.
And so, like, if you want to go try a restaurant, so like every time I try a restaurant and it, people share a deadline to try it, other people share it, that's $100 out my pocket.
Yep.
If you want something like that, right? Like, so, and that's not even before paying me. Like, I drive a 23-year-old car.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, this is not living in the lap of luxury here. I rent and I drive a 23-year-old car.
Yeah.
So, like, nobody's looking to be rich here. It's about paying the bills. Yeah. Like, if I could do more of those things and had a little bit more resources, there's even an extra couple $1,000s a month in advertising or memberships could make a huge difference in that kind of coverage,
Yeah. No, it is one of those things. Like, when I hear about that, the thing I hear about is Eater. Like, people are just like, oh my God, like when Eater Detroit, because like we don't have an official writer for Eater Detroit anymore.
We have people who do part-time. So Mickey Lyons.
Like, I meant like full time.
No,
That's what I meant.
They're extremely.
Yeah. So like we don't have a full time person anymore, and like you can tell, no diss to the writing there. Like I'm just saying the frequency drops off.
That's a job I've wanted to. That's a job that I know that we at Daily Detroit are actually very well suited to do.
Absolutely, but people didn't spend money on it.
So like, who pays for it?
Yeah.
Advertiser, local advertiser, support, membership. Is that something that maybe has to go behind a Patreon wall?
Yeah.
Or something like that. I want to hear from people what they think because the money's got to make sense, right?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, if you're taking free meals from everybody, then you're already kind of in a trouble
You're in
there.
the hole.
And then you also got to pay for their time.
Yep.
Right? Like, and you got to pay for our time. And we're already producing a podcast. We're already doing all these things.
Yeah.
How do we make that shift? Like, Norris, you don't work here full time at all.
Nope.
You show up today. And you help out with other things for sure.
Yeah.
But that's the same thing like other contributors. I'm the only full-time guy here.
Yep.
So, like, there needs to be far more resources. That's just the question. The question is, unfortunately, money. The advertising for a lot of stuff that, like the web ads you see, pay almost nothing. So I remember one time I did a post that did 2 million views, deal with Google ads or whatever, and I made less than $200.
Yeah.
You can go on
It's not that juice is almost not worth the squeeze, but I want to get back to the chat right quick. Mr. Duckett saying, I love investigative journalism in Detroit City Hall. I can tell you now, as somebody who I've not done full-blown investigative, but I've worked alongside people who are very deep into investigative. That is some of the most expensive journalism there is.
You can work for weeks and not post anything.
Yeah, that costs so much money because you got to think, you basically got a writer who is off not doing anything, like literally not doing anything, but talking to people, getting people on background, jotting notes down, working connections, leads, looking at microfilm of old stuff. Like we're talking about deep research kind of stuff, and that person just can't produce anything else for those days.
And here's the little secret. I'll let you behind the curtain here because I've worked with a lot of.
But yeah,
because I see a lot of the numbers for different things. You all will look at a restaurant opening 15 times more than you'll look at any corruption story. Mm-hmm. The public does not value it like that. They just don't.
Y'all don't.
They just, not you individually. But
I'm saying y'all, like
that's
listeners.
part of the math.
Yeah.
That's part of like the math issue involved is that you need to spend, even let's say you get a good reporter, you got benefits, whatever. You're talking easily $100,000 in.
Oh, easily.
And you might get 4 stories a year. So you don't have very many what they call in the business monetization events.
Yeah, easily. You are bringing this person in typically because they already have a name, because they've already done some other work, right? You think about somebody like, for instance, like a Charlie LaDuff, right?
Or ML.
Or ML Elric, right? Like their forte.
David Snell.
Yep, their forte is getting into the weeds on some of the whether it be corruption, whether it be, whatever you want to call it, right? They think about how many stories you see from them a year, how many times they pop up in the discourse.
As far as unique stories.
Unique stories, right? It's not often. It's because it takes a lot of freaking time to do all that stuff.
And that work will probably end up living in some sort of foundation or nonprofit because it's so hard to fund it. I mean, we know the work that you see with some of our other friends around town. And it's like, you can't live on $800 a month,
It's not possible.
So that is the challenge, Mr. Duckett. It is purely a money issue. And nobody's been able to figure it out anywhere in the country except for a few places. And even then, the thing that brings people to the yard is the fun stuff.
Yeah.
As much as, like, I know I get crap for it, but, I mean, we're a tiny operation, and we got to go with what people, I mean, also what I'm good at covering and good at talking about is that kind of stuff.
It reminds me of Andre 3000, man. He had this line on elevators where he says, I live by the beat like you live check to check. So if you don't move your feet, then I don't eat. So we like neck to neck.
Yeah. Michael says, I noticed a gap in local content just from Stephen Henderson not having a daily WDET show. They do have the Metro over there. I don't know. What do you, we're here. So what do you, like, I've known Steven. I mean, I'm not friends with him.
Yeah.
I don't say I'm just acquaintances.
Yeah, professional acquaintances.
But like, there are a lot of talented people out there. What is it that show's missing? Mm-hmm. Right? What is that gap? So define that a little bit more is what I go for. Because, he's also doing a ton of work at Bridge Detroit, if you want to name him specifically.
Yep.
Malachi Barrett and the folks over there doing some good work.
Malachi's a good dude, man.
Oh, yeah, we've had him on the show.
Yeah,
we will again.
Malachi's a good dude. It's the thing about journalism and sharing this information is that I feel like we are now as a community, and I mean America as a community, are starting to realize like, oh, there's actual value to this stuff that people do. But we have gotten to a point where we went through a devalued the information itself, and then we went into this whole devaluing of journalists themselves, whether it be through comments from the current president or comments from other communities. It was like we went through almost 15 years of people literally just extracting capital, whether that be financially or mentally, from journalism, and now we are really angry that all the stuff we liked is gone.
Yeah.
And I'm not necessarily laying this at the feet of you guys, the listener, because you guys are wonderful. You support us. It's fantastic. I'm not laying this at the feet of y'all. I'm talking more of a holistic.
Well, and that's why I've been asked by
approach.
people to have a more direct conversation about what's going on.
Yeah.
And I'm, in fact, hosting a panel at the Detroit Athletic Club about
that.
some of that stuff tomorrow. But it's for members. But I'm gonna put some of that stuff out there. I want to go to Stina. Always good to see you. I really hate seeing national crime reports on the local news. I agree, but they do well. They do very well.
So well. And the thing about it is,
so like you have to decouple engagement from money.
Yes. Not only that, there are certain moments in which a story is so large that you should talk about it, right? Like what was that? That unfortunate school shooting that happened in what was that?
Which one? I'm
talking about the one that happened here, where the parents ended up going to jail too.
Oh,
Oxford.
Oxford, yes.
Oxford. That's national news for a ton of reasons. Number one, it's tragic, super tragic. Number two, it created a legal precedent. Like, previously parents were not held responsible for the actions of their children. That created a national legal precedent.
One story I want to dive into with an expert is I want to talk about that wrongful conviction in Wayne County.
Yeah.
I want to talk about that recently, that report that came out from a series of law students and some others. I want to have an expert guest on to talk about it because I think that's a very important story.
Yeah, so there are moments in time which, it is important for a quote unquote local story to be pushed nationally. But for the most part, I agree. Like if it's just, there was a car accident in Tennessee, bro, don't care. Like tragedy, sorry that sucks that happened, but like that has nothing to do with Detroit.
Yeah. Let's see. I want to stay. Do you want to stay on this topic a little bit longer?
I'm down,
Okay, and then I want to answer. I see you, Siren Rain, and your Ren sent questions. We're going to get there in a second. But Michael said the Daily Detroit is more fun and informative. Stephen Henderson's show was more overtly political without being partisan. So, like, I've worked tangentially with Stephen at Detroit Public Television.
That's his jam, though.
This man was a Supreme Court reporter.
Yeah, that's his jam.
I can handle an interview. I don't think I'm bad at it.
Yeah.
But that's his particular jam. I do get political interviews from time to time. If I do too much politics, y'all yell at me.
Yeah.
Real hard.
See,
and it's okay. And that's one of the reasons why I'm like, you know what?
Yeah.
The eater curb job is a job we could do better.
That's us. Like we recognize we are not, the deep crime, political corruption show.
We'll have guests on to talk about it that know more than us.
For sure. But, you guys as consumers have shown us what you want from us. I think the thing is that if you're getting that from somewhere else, that's cool.
Yeah.
I think the problem is that too much of the country is not getting that from anywhere. In lies the issue because it has become difficult to find that level of journalism.
So Mr. Duckett says not just positive state-run propaganda. And, that's facts because here's the thing. Those press releases, you can get those press releases in from the departments. And this isn't just a Detroit thing. This is everywhere.
That's everywhere.
You can take that, summarize it, post it on a website, and get tons of traffic.
Yep.
Tons of people.
Look at the new thing we built.
And there's also influencers and such who work with police departments. Why do you think they get the video so fast? It's not that they've got reporters.
No.
Right?
No.
They're working to get that information out to social media and other places to influence minds. And I mean, they're going to do what they're going to do. I'm not mad.
I mean, cities do, police departments do, fire departments do, restaurants do. Like everybody works with influencers, social media outlets, news outlets like ourselves. Like this is part of the beast, right? But at the end of the day, my concern is that we're not having a holistic informational diet.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm very happy to see that some of you do. Which explains a lot about our listener surveys that we get about what you guys like.
Which are absolutely awesome.
And I'm very proud of all of you. But I do think that too many of our friends, whether it be regionally or nationally, just don't have a healthy diet of fun information tied together with the stuff that you should just be informed about.
Let's make Siren Rain happy. They've been very patient. With the rents and funding, when can we expect them to start some work? It's going to be a minute. If you look at that we talked a little bit about this with Devin O'Reilly on the Friday show.
Yep.
Sit tight.
Yep.
Because there's a pretty big window. If you look at that downtown Detroit partnership window of funding, I need to look up in my show notes because I bet you I've got some show notes about it.
Yeah. But the long story short, no time soon.
It's going to be a couple. That window has I'm going to say something wrong, and I'm going to try not to.
Don't do it.
Let me look it up. You talk for a second.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be a minute on anything moving with the RINSIM because first of all, before anything can be done, you have to figure out what you're doing with whatever tenants are still there. That's number one. Number two is that then you have to figure out what is the final mock-up or the final layout of what you're going to put there after the towers are down. That's all pre-planning. That's before a shovel ever hits the ground.
So let me give you an idea of the window, because when you look deeper into these documents, it can really help you. The $75 million from the DDA will be distributed as reimbursements for public infrastructure improvements between 2027 and 2033.
Yeah.
There's your answer. That's
there
when that's when
2033.
Somewhere between 2027 and 2033.
Yeah. So a decade.
But it's a huge project.
It is. I mean,
how long did Hudson Yards in New York take to get done?
A decade.
I mean, look.
Yeah.
I believe you. I'm just curious.
Maybe quicker because it's New York.
Let's see.
It took a while though.
Construction began in May 2018, and then it got finished by mid 2025. So 7 years.
I'll round
Still
up.
a long time. Yeah.
I'll round up. But yeah, 8 years. So think about that. That took, don't get me wrong, Hudson Yards is a massive project. I mean, ginormous project.
Yeah.
But that took 7 years in the biggest, most populous, richest city in the country. So if we're then also talking about Detroit, which taking 2 large towers down, then creating some public works and public space, yeah, you looking at potentially 8-9 years.
And one challenge about some of the stuff going tall in Detroit, and this is something that was kind of revealed in the United Artists building, is that there's just certain expertise that a New York or a Chicago has that we don't have on site.
No, because
elevators, for all this kind of stuff that we just don't normally.
We just don't build that way in the same way that they have, slightly less, infrastructural knowledge of building massive suburban style.
I would love to talk to an expert, but I don't see them imploding the RINSIM towers. I would imagine that would be a piece by piece.
Be a floor by floor deconstruction.
I imagine that would be a floor by floor deconstruction, right? Because if you're going to save the other 3, you don't want to cause a bunch of issues.
And then also you got to worry about.
Because the implosion would be the quickest way.
And you also got to worry about internationally, because then if the dust and debris goes across international waters, then you got to worry about Windsor as well. Like, what do you do there?
Stina has a really good question. When did the planning for Hudson's Yard in New York start? So I'm going to look that up, because that's a really good question.
That's why I say I'm rounding
2012.
I'm a decade.
Yep. More than a decade.
That's what I'm saying. I'm rounding up a decade. For massive municipal projects of this scale, you need to be looking on a decade scale. You can't look at a yearly scale. Like, it just don't happen. It takes a lot of work, a lot of planning, a lot of manpower, a lot of infrastructure. So
it's going to be fascinating to watch.
I think it's going to be really fascinating to watch. So look, I'll be, 50 before it's done.
Wow. Oh, gosh. I'm going to be almost 60.
Yeah. I'll be like 50-ish before it's done. Like, and listen, that's fine.
But we're going to have COSM. That's going to be done soon.
That's going to be done next year. But
on our member chat on our Discord, there's been some great stuff shown of what COSM is going to look like.
I'm really excited for the COSM, man. I'm really excited for that. That's the type of sort of anchor attraction type stuff that makes it so, again, downtown is a high street destination. You out live in the neighborhoods, you live in some of the suburbs. Hey, man, what are we doing this weekend? Let's go to COSM.
Ryan says Hudson's created 17 million square feet versus tearing down 500,000. You're right. No, for sure.
but we're talking about a talent gap, a manpower gap. We're talking about a planning gap. You're talking about the level of expertise here that is just not on the same level. Like I said, of the richest, most populous city in the country, it is going to still take a significant amount of time to take those towers down.
I just look at that window as my guide. So it's a significant amount of time either way. Even if you're super optimistic and look at that guide for those documents.
We're still talking about 6 to 7 years.
Yeah.
That's me. If I was in my most aggressive, positive, forward-thinking estimate, it would still be 6 to 7 years.
You got to remove those foundations?
Yep.
Are you going to remove the I've got so many questions now.
Actually, you may not need to remove the foundation.
I'm not an expert, though.
Yeah, but I'm not an
Unlike
expert
the number
either.
one podcast in America, I am okay with saying I'm not an expert.
I don't know. Maybe you do, maybe you don't, but I don't know.
Do you leave them down there?
I don't know. Let's talk to some architects.
Yeah, I'm fascinated by
Because again, that's a thing that may take months to figure out. It can take months to figure that out.
There's the drainage, the sewer drainage stuff, the overflow stuff that's going to be done along the riverfront there. That's going to close a small section of riverfront.
I've seen them
at the foot of 375.
Yeah, there's 375. I think they're also doing some of that around the lodge too. Which what's so funny about the lodge over there is I completely didn't realize up until fairly recently is they just building a new street, like to go from what is that, Larned? Not Larned. It's just north of Larned. Gosh, forgot that street. Anyway, whatever. But it's making it so you can go kind of to that north end of Cobo or Huntington, and you go through that street.
Still calling it Cobo, huh?
Yeah, you go through that street, and now there's going to be a new street that turns left.
So the renderings look sweet for what that's going to be.
Yeah, so you can go to the water towers because, again, previously there was no way to get from greater downtown to over there without going down Jefferson and Michigan left in and doing all kind of crazy stuff. It's the first time in a long time that I've been alive since I've seen somebody build a brand new street.
It's true.
It don't exist. Congress, thank you, David. Congress.
The renderings look great.
Yeah.
If that streetscape comes together, I'm very impressed with the streetscape around the new Hudson's Tower. I hope that is a blueprint for some stuff going forward.
Me too, man. I'm just excited about a lot of the developments here, and I know obviously there are people who would be more, want to see more of that development go out into the neighborhoods. But at the same time,
I think it's coming. I think it's coming.
I agree, but I think if your core is tight, just like when you go to the gym, if your core is tight, it's a lot easier to do all the other exercises. If your core strength is good, everything's easier. Sit-ups, push-ups, squats, all of it's easier if your core is tight. So, downtown is the core of the city. You get that tight, and then it's a lot easier to do all the other stuff.
Yeah, I was thinking about that because I know that we have a lot of urbanists who follow the show. And I was driving around my neighborhood on the east side and looking at all the smaller urbanism opportunities that are there that I wish we took advantage of. There's so many corner apartment buildings with 8 or 10 or 12 units. So much cool stuff that we could do, rebuild, do different things with it. It's already there that we could just replace.
Yeah. You just
or upgrade or whatever.
Replace, improve, rehab. Yeah, it's a ton of stuff. There, especially, man, I look back in that area right north of the river, so in the villages and east of the villages right there. Dude, there's so many old apartment buildings there that you could just rehab and they become anchor buildings for the entire neighborhood. It would be fantastic.
I know that you were on vacation, but did you happen to see the really excellent video on YouTube about the old Shane Ferry Market?
Nah.
Oh.
I had to check it out.
Ehurg, really good video.
Yeah.
All about the history. I remembered that I'd actually, in the early 80s, had been there with my mom.
Yeah.
Now, that's the old, there was a number of municipal markets in Detroit, and that one's over by where I stay. And it's been, it looks hit.
Yeah, it's hit.
But it would be so cool to bring that kind of access to produce and things like that and just re-enliven that somehow. And I love that he gave a highlight to it.
Yeah, that only comes with density and people being there to create a use case for it to be revived, right? Like, obviously everybody deserves services, but again, we're talking about economics here, unfortunately, and you gotta make some economics for it. Here's my thing, y'all. The more that we continue to support certain types of development, the easier it is for us to make the case for all this stuff, whether it be transit, whether it be business, whether it be any of that stuff. Tell all your friends to move here. We're like the opposite of many cities. You know how many cities just be like, don't tell you, I don't want none of you Midwesterners moving here.
Listen, if you're on Threads, people feel that way.
And they're wrong. No, actually, you know what? I'm glad you brought this up. I'm gonna say this to all my cousins on Threads. All right, we got hella space, bro. If there's one thing Detroit got, it's room. All right, we got room for a ton of people. We literally got room for 1 million people. Literally. That's not an exaggeration. The city is built for 1 million more people than are in it currently. So I want them. I don't care where they come from. I want them. I want 1 million people here. That's what I want, man. So tell all your friends to move to Detroit. Tell them to come start businesses. Tell them to put their kids in the schools. Tell them to buy property and pass it down to their children. Do all that stuff, man, because that's what I want. What's the point of having a city if you don't want nobody in it?
Fair. All right. We are going to leave
it. It'll be a lot easier for some of you miserable jokers I see on Threads complaining about how bad it is out here. Maybe if we had more people, you had some better people to choose from. I don't know.
I am so glad that I'm not in that world.
It sucks, but it is what it is. At least I know. At least I know the devil I'm dealing with.
Michael says we have to find a way to build cheaper, though.
Bruh, that ain't gonna happen when you got tariffs, dog.
Yeah, we got to change some of that.
That's not a Detroit specific thing.
Yeah, there's some things we could do here, but there's some other stuff. Anyway, I think we'll say goodnight.
Yes, I'm hungry.
Yes, it's time to take a break. And I have a frog in my throat, which I apologize for. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate all of you. It's so good to have all of you in the chat. It's great to catch up with you every week. We'll be back next week.
Yes.
You're not going to Puerto Rico?
I will not be in Puerto Rico.
How about Vancouver?
I really like Vancouver, but I won't be there either.
You won't be in Vancouver?
No, I like Vancouver, though. It's a nice
what about
town.
Tokyo?
I would love to be in Tokyo. I want to go to Tokyo so bad because I want to see to me, Tokyo is like the final form of a city. Like it's like the Super Saiyan of cities. Like literally everything works well. Everything runs on time. The streets are clean. All kind of stuff. Don't get me wrong. There's still crime. There's still stuff that happens. There's still other issues that Japan has. But as a city, they cities run well.
I sometimes go to sleep to the sounds of the Tokyo Metro.
Where I listen
quiet.
to city pop. So I'm not sure if that's the same, but I love me some old Japanese R&B, that's for sure.
All right, well, with that, thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate you hanging out. I hope that we answered all of your questions. Feedback, as always, dailydetroit@gmail.com. Let me know what you want to see. Join us as a member, patreon.com/dailydetroit. We have stickers. Show me the stickers. Show the people the stickers.
Check it out. Stickers. Look at there. Look at there. Stickers.
Yes, so join us as a member on Patreon, patreon.com/dailydetroit. Take care of each other, and we will talk next week.